Phil's got this.
Welcome to the Beyond the Bucket Show, a podcast centered around optimizing all life's buckets. We all have buckets we are balancing: coaching, entrepreneurial ventures, family, passion projects, and health. Let's all take this journey together and become bucket fillers. And here's your host, Chris McSwain.
Welcome back to another great episode. I got my dude here, internationally known in many different ways, Mr. Phillip Thomas Jr. Welcome to the show.
My man, thank you for having me, my brother. Appreciate you, man.
Second time visitor on Beyond the Buckets, but a lifetime family member for us. And by the way, the beat that came in, you made the connection with your boy Jay Phil. So every time I hear that, I think of you and I think of Jay. And I bought the beat so nobody else can buy it. So
that's yours.
It's all mine.
It's yours.
Well, yeah, welcome to the show, man. For those that don't know, Phillip Thomas is a basketball coach. He's coached everywhere. He has played everywhere, and we'll get into all that. But, I mean, you've coached at pretty much every single level. You played at every single level. And now, you know, you're a dad of two and a husband and doing a bunch of different things and still trying to coach. So welcome to the show. We're happy to have you.
Thank you.
Why don't we start off with a fun fact that even if I know you or people know you, that something maybe they don't know about you.
Like Chris was saying, I've been all over. I went to 5 colleges, played basketball at honestly probably every level. I got a stint at the D1 level, D2 level, D3 level. Well, yeah, those 3 levels. Coached at almost every level besides D1. So yeah, been around the block, but yeah, that's a fun fact about me. Also, fun fact: my first love was baseball, not basketball. I just happened to be better at basketball than baseball, so I took the basketball route.
Wow, I didn't know that either. My first love was baseball too. I was actually better at baseball than I was basketball or football, to be honest. And I probably should have stayed playing baseball because I had real good size for a baseball player, great speed, hand-eye coordination was on point as well. And I just got bored of it after sophomore year, and so I stopped playing baseball after sophomore year.
Where'd they have you using the outfield, huh?
Right up the middle, center field, pitcher, catcher. So right up the middle. That was where I was at. So yeah, I had a great time playing baseball, but it just got a little bit slow. And and I see my son, he's actually really good at baseball. I think baseball is his best sport, but we'll see kind of the direction and the path that he chooses. So
yeah.
When did you stop playing baseball?
Probably sophomore year in high school.
Okay,
yeah.
So we the same again, and our birthdays are like a few days apart too. So a lot of similarities. You were a bigger ladies' man than me, though. I think.
That's why I got girls, brother. See, that's why I got girls.
That's right. So why don't you give like a quick rundown about yourself, where you grew up and things like that? Give a 3-minute backstory for some context before we get into some topics.
Oh, appreciate it, brother. Fairfield, California. I was born in Vallejo, California. I got 2 older sisters. Now I'm located in Roseville, California. I was in San Jose the past 9 years where me and you met and became close. Coached out there, top flight, elite. Coached at Valley with you as well. Taught at Valley, taught at some other schools. I was a counselor for schools in San Jose while still coaching. Then went to, West Coast Elite. And now I'm with Team Kid. For the time being, I had a stint at Academy of Art, the Division II women's program in San Francisco. So that's about my coaching history. I like to work out, spend time with the wife and kids and hoop. I'm in like 3 adult leagues. So I still try to do that. And just hang out. I love Roseville for the time being. My daughter, she started school like 2 weeks ago. So
awesome.
We drop her off, but yeah, it's been great.
Yeah. So what has it been about basketball that just keeps you so involved at so many different levels? Like you said, you've played at every single level: Division I, Division II, Division III, JUCO, high school. and you've coached at the college level. Did you coach JUCO too?
No, I didn't coach. Oh yeah.
Okay, and then high school level and boys and girls, and so what is it about basketball that it's like I just gotta have it?
I think basketball is therapeutic for me. Just from playing. I think for me, I'm confident in myself and saying like I think I'm a basketball mind. I'm a basketball junkie. I'm a basketball groupie in the sense like that. So I think that's kind of what's been therapeutic for me. It just helps. It's just something that I know really well and I love to do. I love to help others. I've been on the men's side, I've been on the women's side. I love both sides, but right now, I love to help these girls, achieve their dreams and kind of give back on things that I didn't know at that age or nobody helped me get to at that age. That's kind of the big thing. Like when we talk about giving back, I want to like give them some knowledge that I didn't know at that age to help take them to the next level and where they want to go, really.
Right. Do you like coaching, or do you prefer coaching males or females better?
Great question. Right now, I am very comfortable on the women's side of things. Like I really enjoy women's. There's a difference with women's and men's, of course, but for me, I think women's is more X's and O's to me. Like you gotta put them in place to be successful because they might not be the most athletic all the time. You don't have five girls jumping out the gym and dunking and
Well,
stuff
Team Kid might actually.
right, right. But generally, you don't have them, so you gotta use your mind. And
Right.
that's kind of what separates the coaching
Yeah.
aspect of it.
For sure. What was your biggest adjustment from coaching men to our boys, and then coaching the girls? Because you were at Oak Grove High School, and before we stole you and brought you over to Valley
Yeah.
Christian. But the biggest thing for me was just the interpersonal relationships, letting them get to know me, me getting to know them. And then tone is a big thing. So boys, you can kind of have any type of tone, and most of the time you won't offend anybody, but your tone, and still to this day I still have to continue to work on it because it's not perfect. But I always tell people, listen to what I said, not how I said it,
Mm.
because if you just listen to the words, if I'm yelling and screaming, "Hey, you got to play harder."
Yeah.
Well, what was the context behind it? Now, do I need to say it like that? Probably not. I can probably frame it in a better way. But the bottom line is, did you need to play harder? And
Yep.
a lot of people don't like to be called out on certain things that they may or may not be doing. The people closest to you and the people that have earned their trust, like your mom or my mom, if they told us something, like, we might not want to hear it, but we hear it anyway, and we just respect the fact that that's the case. So I've found that the more that they respect you and see the level of which you've tried to get to know them and be a part of their life outside of just the game of basketball, has really helped, as I've seen over the last 11 years coaching women. But I'm curious to understand what your process was too.
Yeah, I think you kind of hit it right on the nose with that. I'm big on accountability, but I'm not going to hold you accountable for something that I wouldn't do. So even more in showing them with my coaching or, getting out there and playing with them or showing them something. And like you said, getting to know them, like getting to know who they are, their background, where they came from, their struggles. Cause in reality, you're a family. You're with those people. You're with these girls a lot out of your
Right.
day. Spending time with them. You see them at school, whatever it is. And basketball goes beyond, in between those lines. It goes, that chemistry. So if you could build that, they'll run through a wall for you and trust you. And even I've kind of learned this. I did learn this from you in terms of like my pregame or like my after game speeches, like knowing how much to say or not say so much, just getting to the point. But again, you can say little and they can still grasp it if they trust you and they know, where you're coming from. Like you and your post game speeches, sometimes you didn't say much, but you like left them with something and then that was it. So like I used to always watch you when you did that and was like, yeah, like right, he didn't talk for hours.
Mhm.
You didn't you didn't talk for
Well,
hours.
I mean, if you think about it, back in the day when you played, when the coaches would do that, you tuned them out,
Put him out.
and even so, even more so now because they just don't have the attention span to deal with that, and they move on from stuff so fast because everything that they see is it's posted and then it's gone, whether
Yeah,
that be Snapchat, whether it be Instagram Reel. They're scrolling, they see it, and they keep it moving. So
yeah,
you have to make it more simplified, and not the word is not dumb it down, just simplify.
yeah.
And if you don't simplify, you're going to lose them. So yeah, there's a lot of times where we might not even say nothing. And I'll tell the coaches like one quick point, or the assistant coaches will reserve communication until we get back to practice
Yeah.
because they don't want to hear it. But
No,
yeah, you're right. Um,
yeah.
but I used to be really long winded back in the day, for sure, for sure.
You was the one that parents was waiting, like, what are they talking about?
Yeah.
After
But now I'll keep my coat. Like we'll let them out within a few minutes.
yeah,
But I'll stay in there for a long time, especially
right.
if the outcome wasn't the way we wanted it. So I got Eshoff in there, Ashley in there. They just sitting there. We just sitting quiet for a hot minute until I say something. So what you guys think? What could we have done better?
Right,
Uh, Stuff
right.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's been something, that's been a takeaway. Just many things with coaching. I mean, it's very strategical, in my eyes about, how you go about it and how you approach it. And I think that's what separates, the good coaches from the bad coaches. Been blessed to be around some great coaches like yourself. I've also been blessed to be around some not
Mm,
so great coaches as well, which has helped me in my approach and, also knowing what girls respond to, what they don't respond to well. So it's been a blessing both sides. Even if I wasn't enjoying it in that time, it's been a blessing being able to see both sides of it.
right. And you mentioned it earlier, but what do you think? Because you can actually still show the team what and how to do.
Yeah,
And I think that has some great value in it because I can still show the girls, and none of them are a better shooter than me. So I be talking all the time, and like I'll just be shooting around. I'm like bucket. I just be
yeah,
talking, and they like roll their eyes, but I think they respect the fact that it can still be done, and like you can get on the court and actually show them because there's a lot of coaches out there that really can't get down like that, and
yeah.
that's not a knock.
Nah,
That just I think it's just a tool in your toolbox because there's a lot of coaches that never played and are really, really good.
mhm,
But I think there's a level of respect if you can get out there and you can physically show them how to do something, and they're like, "Oh, okay, wow, well, it can be done." And this morning, and I'll let you speak on it too. But this morning, I was like, "All right, has our play been working in the game?" The girls are like, "No." And I'm like, well, if me and the coaching staff got out here with two of y'all, would the play work? They said yes. I said, okay, well, what's the difference? Well, we
right.
just decided and committed that we were going to actually run it and run it effectively and make it look like I want to score, even if I don't. So, what are your thoughts on being able to still get out there and get to it if you need to?
Yeah, I think it helps the players respect you. Like you said, it's not a necessity, but I think for coaches who can do it, they look at it as players look at it as like, oh, well, he can do it. He's done it. Like, it's kind of like a level of respect. Like, even with me, like, I'm big on, individual, training and, teaching them things. So even when I'm training the girls or, when I was at my last college, training the girls in the sessions, I would get out there and do it. And they were like, oh, wow. Like, oh, you kind of, and then, when I'm breaking it down to them, it's kind of like, okay, he can do it. He's showing me he knows what he's talking about. So in that sense, I think it helps them buy in more, and it's that level of respect as a whole as a coach.
Right.
Like when I get out there and I'll run a player, I execute it again. It just shows them like this could be done. This can
Yeah.
this can be done. It's if coach could do it and he's 20 years older than me, I can do it. I should be able to try to model that. So that's kind of what I do, as well as, if I have other coaches or whatever, I always try to get out there and shoot with them. And I'll even have shooting contests with them. Like, hey, you not so like then again, I'm beating you in the shooting contest when I tell you to work on something or I tell you your jumper's flat or something, you're gonna okay, he can shoot better than me. I might want to listen to him.
Might want to listen.
I
Might want to listen. Yeah,
might want to listen and take in what he's saying. So I think that those are the benefits from that. And yeah, I'm gonna be out there and out there as long as my knees allow me to be.
for sure. I think that's been a great thing about our staffs at Valley Christian is every single year, all of our coaches could actually hoop. So
Yep.
that's big. And if we need to fill in and have a body, but literally all the coaches can hoop. We've always said this, but if our staffs, like both JV and varsity, had to play other staffs,
Yeah.
like we would win the league every time.
Working staff.
Every time. So that's like a feather we put our cap on. But at the end of the day, it's not really about us. It's about providing them the best opportunity. So if we need to get in there and give them a better look, if you're going to play a very strong team, they're not going to see a better look
Right.
than some grown adults going at them. I stopped playing a lot just because it was just I get too competitive sometimes. See,
Yeah.
you're nicer than I am in a lot of ways, but I just get way too competitive. So if somebody like bumped me the wrong way, it's like, okay, now we going at
Yeah,
it.
now we
Uh,
go.
did I ever tell you the story about when we went on the cruise?
Nuh-uh.
When Maddie and I went on the cruise with our other friends, I think Anton. He used to play hoop, and then his wife at the time. But we went on this cruise to the Bahamas, and the first thing we saw was a basketball tournament because they list all the activities. So we're
On the
like, three,
cruise? On the
yeah,
boat?
it's 3-on-3 basketball tournament, and all of a sudden, like, okay, let's go. We got two, me and my buddy.
Yeah.
And then so we go to the little workout gym and we see this big dude and we're like, hey, you hoop? He was like, yeah, actually, I'm from Seattle. I play with Brandon Roy in high school, and he played professional baseball. So we're like, okay, cool. And he's like, yeah, I got my other boy. He went to Gonzaga. He didn't play, but he was a really good high school player.
Right.
So us four, we team up and we start, waxing all the teams. And those two guys knew how to play. We knew how to play. And this is I was probably like 26, 27. So I was really in my prime. I feel like I'm still in my prime now, just as far as like how I feel. But then we were playing a lot. And so we get to the championship game. We playing some young bucks. They're like all 19 and 20. They're from New York, and they were good. They had some big guys. And if you've ever been on a cruise boat, you know that the winds are kind of crazy. And so for a player like me, my game is strictly this.
Yeah.
Barely, I can dribble enough to make you think that I got something, but I really don't. But if you give me some space, I'm going to be able to shoot the basketball.
Yeah.
Well, that day I shot the ball and then the wind took it. It was like,
yeah.
And it took off. And then the guys started talking. And then that was like, okay, I'm in I'm in Mad McSwain mode. So I start going, like putting my head down and making sure it's either going to be a bucket or a foul. And the guy on the mic, he's like, "This is a family cruise." Da, da, da. and Maddie, this is Maddie's first experience watching me in a competitive environment. And so we end up winning the tournament, and they gave us these medals. I was so proud. I'm like, "Here you go." And she's like, she didn't want it, and then they left. And the last part was my buddy was kind of like Russell Westbrook, that demeanor on the court. So anytime we were in San Jose, he was the first one. I'm the one having to pull him back and be like, "No, man, just chill out." And I was like, "Where was you at?" Because they started talking. He's like, "Dude, we didn't know these guys. When we're in the Bay Area, I know everybody, so it's not really an issue, and they know how I get down, but we don't know them." And I was like, "Fair point." And but we got that trophy. I got that medal somewhere.
Hey, but the competitive nature is good though. Like I mean, I think that's generations as well. Like we used to hoop outside. We used to, go at it. You talking mess. I talk about that all the time, still to this day. Like, just the competitive nature. Like a lot of these hoopers, they're not outside no more. They're not competing. You might be training and you might be doing it for, IG, YouTube, whatever, but you're not really competing like out there hooping. Like I think that's where you develop the dog. And that's where you're able to see it. Like, hey, that person's a dog. I just recently hooped at 24 and these 5 dudes came in. We was running court and they came in. We beat them, but I'm talking about they was trying to clamp. But like I really had to play. Like I couldn't just, I really had to play. I actually got a cut on my left eye because for game point, you know how I get when game point. For game point, I attacked dude and he fouled me, but his boy had came across and scratched me and poked me right in the eye and got me. I was bleeding.
Jeez.
I was like, it hurt. But after the game, I dapped him up. I was like, I love it. That took me back to when I was younger. You really playing and just developing that dog and knowing how to take the physicality. So I love that.
Yeah. I was just talking to Ashley this morning and she was about to go hoop at what is that place called? I forgot what it's called, but she was about to go hoop.
Yeah.
And she was like, you been hooping? I said, no, I don't need that. I can't like see that sounds like it just sounds like yeah, I get what you're saying, but I just don't want to be put in those moments anymore. And you saw me when we get to the like the staff student game. Like don't talk to me. It gets to that level. Like you can still smile and have fun, but like if I'm competing, that's just And my son low key has that too, which I love. Like I tell him every day, you a dog, you a dog, you a dog, you a dog. So yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So tell me about your high school. What was high school like? I know you guys had a really good team in Fairfield High. By the way, did you guys play St. Francis in NorCal one year?
Yeah, we played
St. Francis. So you played Tyler. You played Tyler, or you might have played Tyler then.
So Tyler Johnson?
Yeah, because they beat y'all, right?
Yeah, they beat us by 1 actually.
Okay, or Sean. It might have been Sean Grant. So that might have been before Tyler.
Yeah. Tyler's younger than us, I believe.
Okay, so I watched that game. I didn't. I was coaching basketball because what year did you graduate?
07.
07. So I was for sure there. 100%.
Oh, okay.
It was back at their old gym. We stood up at the top there, and I remember Fairfield High coming in to play, and St. Francis was a really good team. I think they won state that year. Honestly.
Okay. Yeah, we played Midi in NorCal too. We played Midi. And that was with Drew Gordon and my boy Colin. They beat us by like 4 that year at Midi.
How you know Colin Shiverton?
Just through hoops. We played each other a lot. He was on the Soldiers. We played each other often. We got cool. Like, we just respected each other's games because we was both nice. And then at Midi, I wanted to beat him. So we were talking beforehand and we just kind of established just a relationship after that through hoops. So
he was smooth. Where is he at now?
He's in San Jose.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he hooped in the league with me like when I was out there, and we hooped every now and then. He still could shoot it. So yeah, he's around. Yeah,
he's good. Yeah. So what was your experience like? I was a coach with you guys and playing with all your best friends growing up. What was that like for you?
Dope. I think like we talked about the dog, that's kind of where I got the dog from, because we didn't have the trainers. We didn't have, maybe not the skill as everybody, but I look at these kids, I'm like, oh no, we're smacking it. Even though they're nice, I'm like, oh no, we're smacking it because we're just dogs. And, we defended. We played hard against each other. We were physical. Like we just were really competitive. That's why I love that you're still competitive, because it's like people need to be competitive. So that's kind of how it was growing up. We was outside playing in the street. Then we found a gym. We was always in the gym playing with older dudes and getting roughed up and, going at them just to prove ourselves. So that's kind of what it was like growing up. We would go from practice and then we would go straight to, it's called the athletic club. And we would hoop there till dinner time. And then we would have to go home and eat. And then we doing it the next day all over again. But yeah, I went to Fairfield High, Falcons. And we were nice.
Black and red, just like Top Flight, baby.
Yeah, it is. And then we was nice. Our coach, I always try to take pieces from people, but our coach, he's still there to this day. Is Eddie Wilson. He's probably one of the best basketball minds that I've ever been a part of. And I like to think, and me and him used to butt heads because again, I'm always dissecting. I'm always trying to, think about the game. And we used to butt heads because we both knew basketball very well, and I was the point guard.
Mm.
So he was smart, I was smart. I would try to, tell him something. He wasn't having it. He would try to tell me something. I'm like, nah, this don't make sense. Like, no. But we came to a common ground, of course. And he was just a great coach. He coached us tough. Like he was on us. That conditioning and the practices were probably some of the hardest practices that I've been a part of to this day.
Right.
Went to NorCals, we lost to Midi, like the game before state. Me and all my boys were there, me and all my boys, like you said, that I grew up with, who I'm still friends with now. Great high school career. Like I couldn't ask for a better high school career. And I think the way he coached us X's and O's, as well as holding us accountable and being tough on us, that's kind of what I try to take in my coaching strategies as well.
For
Because
sure.
he didn't care.
And you learn what to do, what you like and what you don't like, and then you take what works for you and you let go what doesn't work for you, and that's okay. And especially in that time, the coaching landscape was a lot different. So
Yeah.
you were able to challenge and push in a different way that you wouldn't do now.
Yeah.
But you take all those experiences and try to cultivate your own coaching, and that's kind of what happens. And I think if the competitive environment also needs to change, and I don't know, like how are we gonna create that competitive environment like our team had in high school? Like we were number one in the section most of my senior year, and that includes all of the private schools too. In my junior year, we went to the section championship and we lost to Midi in the section title.
Oh, okay.
And that was my junior year, and all of us, we had no seniors on the team. All of us were coming back. So we were instantly ranked number one the following year. But like two of my friends who had transferred from Midi, I went to junior high with them. They came over, and one of them was played my position. I didn't start my junior and senior year when they came over. That's how competitive it was. And like there was three of us. It was me, Jeremy, and Rodney. And we would have started for any team in the league. And then we also had another guy that played the four. Like we could have had a whole starting lineup with our backups. Yeah. That was how it was, but it was just so competitive, and we loved each other, and our coach was super, super hard on us. And it got us to play extremely hard. Like we played hard. And we lost 3 games. And we only lost 3 games. We lost to 4 total if you count the playoffs. So we lost to Andrew Hill with Jason Obazwe, who's out close to you now. He ended up playing at Colorado.
Okay.
He runs the grind team.
Oh, okay. I've heard of that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So he's out in the Tracy, Stockton area. And we lost to them once. We beat them once. And then Lee, who had this player named Antoine Guidry, he was football player of the year, basketball player of the year, and track athlete of the year. So he scored 48 touchdowns. He could windmill in it with no warm-ups. He was 6'1", and he ran a 10-200. Like he was really like that. He had a full scholarship for basketball and football at Nebraska, but he didn't qualify academically, so he couldn't play. So we lost 2 games to them. One of them was on a buzzer beater, and then we lost to Sacred Heart Cathedral in the either semis or quarterfinals. So we didn't even make it to the championship my senior year, and we thought it was a lot. And Reardon ended up winning that championship. And I think they went to state that year as well. So. Yeah,
that was tough then.
Yeah. So, and like I said, I didn't start a single game, even though I was doing really well my freshman and sophomore year. But when Ryan and Steve came over, we got a post player that was really, really good. Everything was fed through the post, especially then. And then Ryan, he was a better shooter than I was. Now I got him. But back then, for sure, he was a better shooter than I was, and you just got to live with that. And it wasn't like I'm gonna quit or anything like that. Or same thing with Jeremy and Rodney and Belton. Nobody decided to quit. We just gonna play harder, and we played for each other, and that's what it was. And we stood on whatever the coach thought was best. And we might not have liked it because obviously everybody wants to start and wants to play and do all that stuff. But for the betterment of the team, it ended up working out. Like I wouldn't change that because I worked a lot harder to get to wherever I wanted to get to.
Yeah. And then that's where you talk about, again, that competitive nature, you competing. Like, back then it wasn't so easy to transfer. Like you couldn't just transfer and go to schools and then play. Like, you see everybody transfer now when things get hard. We had to grind it out and stick it out. And playing my junior year, I was the backup point guard. Granted, my boy LeVar, he was the best point guard.
Ball?
I know. He was the best. He was the best. Me and him, I mean, humbly speaking, were the two best PGs in the area, and we happened to be on the same team.
Wow, that's good.
He was a senior, so I mean, rightfully so. He was playing ahead of me, and the way our system was, you can't really put two PGs. Our coach ran a system where the PG kind of did everything, and then the two wings could shoot. So at the time, my two boys were better shooters than me, and I just kind of ran the show. So I didn't fit the position. But there was times where I was frustrated during the season because I was backing up, and I'm like, man, I could be helping more. And I got into it. My coach again, granted, it worked out great. Like that's why I respect him so much. He didn't take it as like this guy's being a cancer or like he's trying to affect the team. It's like he took it as he's an a-hole, but Phil just wants to play and just help his teammates out because these are all his boys. And so then I stuck it out. We grinded. We went to deep playoff run my senior year. Again, when a deep playoff run, it was my show. But again, we had squad, and it's because we competed. Like we really competed. There was nobody transferring. There was no, stacking teams with the top 5 players in the area. We was just, just hooping. I think it helps you playing against the best too, that everybody's not on the same team. You're playing against the best. And, like you said, that dude who went to Nebraska, he wasn't on y'all team. It would have been unfair.
And we did play with him AAU. So we were all on the same AAU team.
Oh, okay. So y'all had squad there too.
But, I mean, our AAU team was solid too. Yeah.
Then you guys went to your respective schools and competed against each other and just, hooped and competed. I think that's what makes the hoop landscape, what it is. I think that's what makes it great.
Yeah, if he would have came, it would have been an automatic wrap. But then Ryan wouldn't even be started. To be honest, like that's just what it was. Like that would have been ridiculous.
Yeah,
because he was the best player. He was by far the best player, and I think we had. I mean, obviously they had a better team if they beat us, but I think we still were the best team. But the best player can trump that. Like we ain't gonna lose. Yeah. That's what he said, and he was, and like it was so cold because when he made that bucket, it was like the student section, and you know how it was then. The student sections were rocking. He just went and stood on the front step of the student section, and it's like he was Jesus. He put his hands in the air, and everybody's going like this. I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. So,
oh man, that's tough. Yeah, those memories, those high school memories, man.
Yeah, I missed the days, and the kids now they'll think about these days a lot. And this is, I graduated 2001. You graduated 2007. Like that's a long time ago. Like that's over 20 years for me, and pulling up on 20 for you. So, that's crazy. So tell me about high school too. So what happened? You think you went to Delta right out of high school, and then you went to 5 colleges. So explain how that even happens. You played for a Hall of Famer in Isaiah Thomas.
Man, so I actually went to CRC first. So I went to Delta. I actually moved in after I graduated high school. So in high school, I was getting recruited a lot. I went to the double pump camps. I went to, some big time camps. I was playing with James Harden at the camps and Ryan Anderson. And, those guys had their stint James Harden's still in the league. Ryan had his stint in the league. Luke Babbitt. So hoopers. And so I was getting recruited a lot. But again, my grades were I had probably had like a 2.8. If I would have had a 3 point something, I would have been cool. But getting interest from a lot of D1s. But again, it didn't. That's why I try to stress academics with students so much, because it could really. I love where I'm at in life, because I probably wouldn't have met my wife. I wouldn't have met you. So I mean, I met amazing people.
Sure.
So yeah, I went the JC route. I went to Delta, Coach Katz, legendary coach. Before the season started, they had squad there. And granted, I'm this young, confident, cocky, probably at the time, freshman coming in. I'm like, man, I'm playing. Like, I should be D1 anyways. Like, I'm playing. Like, I'm not. So then, there's whispers like, they got these sophomores coming back. Like, you might not play a bunch. Granted, I didn't know. So before the season started, Consumis, they got this new coach, Gio. He's basically like, the keys are yours. Wherever you want to help get recruited, I'm gonna help you get there. So I'm like, man, beautiful, nice school in Sacramento. So I'm like, shoot, I'm there. So he brought. I ended up transferring there before I started at Delta in the summer. Went there. Wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I played a lot, but we weren't good. That was the first.
So what do you mean it wasn't what you thought it would be?
That we weren't good. Like, there was no. And granted, things my boys stayed there. So I mean, they said the program turned around, but when the program started, or his first year, there was no structure, and I wasn't even keeping that in mind. I'm used to structure, Delta structure, Fairfield highest structure. Like, we had a workout plan, we had training, there was no egos. You couldn't just do whatever you want to.
Sure.
But then I get to Consumers, I got guys walking in late to practice with their headphones on, not ready to practice. We got dudes not practicing hard. We don't really have no structure. Then we got dudes just, we're hooping, and we're just literally out there hooping. I'm like, there's no, like, and we had talent, but it just wasn't, and a lot of egos. And that was the first time I experienced that. I'm like, oh, this ain't what I'm used to. Like, this ain't. But I did good. I was top 50 freshman in the state of California or something like that. So I did good. But I was just used to winning. So then we played Delta. I did my thing against Delta. Delta wanted me back. I ended up transferring to Delta in Stockton, played there. Cats ended up leaving, going to Sac State. So I ended up.
Andy?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
he just got a new job, didn't he?
Did he?
I don't think he's in Sac State no more.
No, he's not in Sac State anymore. He stepped down, I believe.
I seen him at a clinic one time.
Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, he was there. So I now I'm coming in thinking I'm playing for this guy, this legend. Ended up playing for another guy. I mean, Coach Russa, two different coaches. So from there, I played there, did well.
So this is coach number 3.
This is coach.
Stop number 2.
Yep, exactly. So then I go,
or stop number 3, how you look at it.
Right, real life. You go back and forth. Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna keep track up here. We got 3 coaches, 3 different two different programs, 3 different times. Go ahead.
Coaches, and then I didn't get recruited at the same that I was in high school. After, I don't feel like he really pushed for me that much. Granted, I did well, but so then I was like, man, I'm a hooper. I could go anywhere. So then I tell the coaches, me and my boy Jay Fields, Jay Fields, we decided to take a leap of faith, and we're like, man, we're walking on at we were looking at schools, and we were like, hey, let's go to Miami. He actually brought the idea up. I've never heard of Florida.
Of course he did.
And he was like, hey, you down to go to I was like, Miami? And then we went out there to like check it out and stuff like that. And then I came home like, hey, we flew out there, and then the campus was beautiful. Everything was beautiful.
Just got to Miami, need a hotel room.
Right. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'm there. Like, and then we were like, yeah, we're going. We drew my dad and his mom. We drove with us. We drove our cars out to Miami.
That's a push.
Cars out to Miami. We moved in our hotel, and we're just out there. We're probably 20, 21 at this time. 2 21-year-old boys, young men, out of Miami by themselves. Wow. Then we We walked on. At this time, they hire Isaiah Thomas at at this time. Granted, he was never around except for the games, but he's big time. So I go to his office. He wasn't there. I go, rarely seen him. Rarely seen
What
him
about at practice?
at practice. So I practiced at the beginning. Then I hurt my ankle, and then they were like, "Well, you're not. I mean, you're not on the team, so like we're not going to save a spot." Well, we had tryouts. I hurt my ankle. They said, "Well, basically, come back next year." So I was like, "Oh, okay, that's what we like. All right, cool." So the assistant coaches would hold that week of tryouts and that week of practice, and we would have open gym with the team. Everything. Isaiah was never there. Like Isaiah
Wow.
was never there, Chris. That's why they let him go shortly after, but it was just didn't work out for him. So now I'm just hooping. Uh, with the team open gym season starts, they're not very great. The guys are like, "Hey, Phil, come back next year, blah blah." And I was like, "Nah, I'm out of there." Like, there's no guarantee that I'm even gonna make the squad, even if I'm nice enough. This is D1. Like they're recruiting. They recruited an All-American at that time. He came for Isaiah Thomas, but he ended up transferring. So again, it wasn't really the structure wasn't great. It wasn't just a great spot. So I'm like, man, I'm out. Jay Phil's like, dang, you sure you don't want to stay? Like, I like Miami. Like, but I'm like, I'm out. So me and him ended up transferring. Then I transferred to Humboldt State, and that's up in Arcata. And um, love the team there. Love the guys. Me and the head coach. He basically told me something when I got there, and did something else when like recruited me and told me something. Then when I got there, he did something else. So at this point, I'm 22. I'm like, man, or I might be 21, about to be 22. And I'm like, coach, I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to make all these stops. Like you told me this when I came here. So basically, I'm not calling you a liar, but you lied to me. You told me and my dad, you looked my dad right in the eyes and you told me something, and this didn't happen. That's why I always try to be transparent with my players, even if they don't like it, because I don't ever want them to say that I lied to them, that coach told me something or anything. Like whatever I tell you, that's what you're gonna get from me, or whatever role I think you're gonna play, that's what you're gonna get. So I always try to keep that in mind. Again, me going through these blessings that at the time weren't seem like blessings to me, So he told me this, and I kind of called him out on it. I'm like, man to man, I just don't feel like you're handling the situation right. Um, you know, he's like, I'm gonna redshirt you. And I said, well, coach, you told me that I was, I'm the sixth man when I came here, blah, blah. I'm a junior. My senior year, this is gonna be my team. This is all things I'm not making up. These are all things that you've told me. So this isn't happening because you have guys who been here longer than me. And, I was like, and I said it, this is where probably what was the last draw. I said, if you could tell me straight up that I'm making this up, or I'm not one of the best, like I'm not the top 10 guys on this team. If you tell me that, you won't ever hear anything from me again. I won't say nothing. He couldn't tell me that. So he covered himself, and he's like, "You're not." Like all the other coaches, I was in the coach with 5 coaches. None of them said nothing because they know I wasn't lying. He's like, "You're not. That's why you're not playing. That's why." And accept it. I said,
Oh, he said you're not.
yeah. After, so it was quiet in the room. It was quiet in the room. Nobody. I looked around at everybody. I said, "Are you guys gonna?" I literally was like, and nobody said nothing. So he had to break the silence, and he was like, "You're not. You're not, and that's why you're not playing." And that attitude right there is why you're not. Why I'm redshirting you. But I was like, "You've never seen me have an attitude. I've never even talked to you like this. I just feel like we're all grown men in here, and I just want to say my piece. If we're having this meeting." He didn't like that. He booted me next day. He texted me. He never texts me. He's texting me while I'm taking a test in class. Call me when time permits itself. And I was like, I don't respond. Hour later, he texts me again. Call me when time permits itself. He was trying to get me before practice happened, so I don't go to practice. So he called me like, we're letting you go. We're going in a different direction. And, I was like, coach, I came out here for hoop. you recruited me. This is the only reason why I'm in Arcata, California. I've never even heard of Arcata before. So, yeah, he booted me. I mean, that year I worked harder than ever in the gym. He actually told him that they can't play open gym with me because I was in there. And my teammates, of course, I'm still close to them to this day. I would be in the weight room or in the gym getting shots up. They was like, why do I see Phillip Thomas more than I see you guys? And he used to get mad at them, but I just use it as fuel. So then I ended up going to a D3 in Whittier. Love my coach, Mark Jensen. He's the head coach now. He was the assistant there at the time. Loved it. Loved my guys. Had a great senior year. Balled out. Did my thing, and yeah, I mean, it was a great college experience. But I wish I could have been at one school and just broke records and been there 4 years, but it didn't work out. So
You don't take me as like the confrontational type of person when it comes to communicating. So what do you think it was with a lot of these stops and these coaches promising stuff? And for me, that's why I don't really care for the college game too, because you don't want to have to lie to kids and
right,
tell them something that's not. That's one of the things that I really like about the high school is I can just hold them accountable, and my job isn't really
right,
in jeopardy because they don't play or something like that.
right.
And you can really be honest with them, like, no, this player is better than you. That's the
Yeah,
reason why.
yeah,
And the excuse that we get a lot now is, and even from parents, oh, they're working really hard.
yeah.
Well, isn't that the point? Everybody works really hard.
Everybody works hard. Yeah,
Even in class, you don't question the teacher if they give you a B or they
right,
give you a C. It's because everybody in the class or most of the class is working hard. If they don't work hard, they're going to get a bad mark or grade and they get a D or F. But if people are trying and they come up with C's, that's C output. It's
right,
C effort.
right,
Well, it may be A effort, but it's C output. And it's the same thing when it comes to basketball. Everybody's working hard and playing hard, but what is your output? This other person's output is going to be better more times than yours is going to be better, and that's just a harsh reality.
yeah,
And as we both talked about it earlier, it takes the self-awareness. You got to
yeah,
have self-awareness. Was Ryan better than me at that time? Yeah, he was. So what am I getting upset for?
right,
That's just a fact. I
yeah,
want to be in this position, but the fact of the matter is he is better than I am right now at this at this current stage in life. So yeah.
yeah. So work harder, and that's what you did. You continue to work and worked hard. And like you talked about, the parents, that say, well, he worked hard, like you're supposed to, like that means that they are supposed to play. When in reality, that just gives you a chance, right? That just gives you a chance. You working hard, that gives you a chance. Some people are better than others, at that time. That's just the reality of it, And then, like you said, like transparency, Coach Katz was transparent with me when he was like, yeah, I have these players. And that's probably why I went somewhere else, which was cool. But he was like, I got squad. We went to, like, he didn't need me. Like, literally, he got everybody a scholarship. Even if you were on the bench, he got you a scholarship. He said, I don't need you. I want you, right? I want you. You're a good player. But I got players. Like, so if you don't come, the ship is going to keep on moving. So
Right.
I was the only coach who was transparent and honest with me all the way through. Oh, Gio was too. But we just weren't good. That was the coach at Consumus. But yeah, I think that's kind of what distinguishes when we talk about good coaches, coaches who, don't do well. Well, I don't want to say bad coaches because I don't want to knock anybody, but just good coaches and coaches who need work. The transparency and the accountability. And that's just so for me, like to answer your question about speaking up, I kind of came to, because like you said, I'm not confrontational. I don't really, but I came to a point where I was like, I already been to 3 colleges. I'm I got 2 more years of hoop left. I'm a grown man in the sense that I'm 21, 22 years old. I'm not yelling at you, but I feel that if you as a man, if you can talk to me and tell me something. I should be able to talk to you in a manner that, again, is not yelling at you. Just have that conversation. But again, coaches sometimes, they don't really want to have the conversation because they feel like they're above you, or you're their player. So I just told them how I felt, and then that was it. And then even when I got to Whittier, I kind of started being outspoken, because for me it was like, I'm taking this approach of never speaking up for myself. And my dad even always taught me to speak up for yourself. My dad wasn't there, my mom wasn't there. I'm kind of letting these coaches not take advantage of me, but just tell me whatever, and then my voice isn't being heard, and then I'm just going on and flying under the like. I want to play. I want to make the best out of my college experience. So I just kind of was always quiet, and then I was just kind of like, okay. Even when I got to Whittier, the coach, I remember I had like 5 games in a row or something of 20 points or something like that. And mind you though, Chris, I led the league in assists, or I was second in the league in assists, the whole league. Um, and he was like, I don't want you to score as much. But they've never had a point guard who could score the ball. It was kind of like, oh, I pass it, I just run the floor. I could run the team and score. So he said, I don't care. So he told me not to score the next game. I think I had 27. He got the next, we win. The next week at practice, he calls me in. He's like, I told you I don't want you shooting as much. I don't care if I have to play a freshman over you. Like, I don't care if I have to bench you and we lose. I don't want you. That's not what we do here. And I said, Coach, and again, this is me speaking up for myself. I was like, Coach, but we're winning. And it's not like I have 0 assists. I probably had like 27 and 7 or 8. Like, it's not like I'm not passing. And he said, I don't care. I'll bench you.
And
Next
why?
game.
And why do you think why was it like that?
I think that it was for me personally, I think that it was I think, again, a lot of times, again, when we talk about coaching, coaches can't take their ego out of it. It's an ego thing, and it's a control thing. Maybe I don't know about their life, or when they were playing, they were never in control. They never could control the narrative and the aspects of what they wanted. So now I have this player in here who doesn't fit what I envisioned. So instead of adjusting, this is my way or the highway, and that's what it's going to be. So now I have this new player coming in. He's flashy, he can make no look passes, all of this stuff. That's not what I had before. So that's not, that doesn't work here. So that's why I think, and it was a control thing with him. If you would risk losing games, and just to say that for you not to shoot as much and score points, or us winning and me score points, the obvious answer would be win and you score points, because that's how we're winning the game.
Yeah.
But instead, no, it's my way. So then I went out next game, I scored 20 again, because it's not like I'm ball hogging. I'm just letting the game come to me and taking what's there. Score 20 again. The next game, I don't see the floor. Like, he doesn't play me. Like, so he said, I told you what was gonna happen. Like, we get blown out by 20. I'm just sitting there. And again, this is my senior year, so I'm already frustrated with my stops on my coaches, coaching through all the coaching. So
Right.
I said, just forget it. Whenever I get in, I'm just hooping. I don't care if you sit me or whatever. So now I'm on my Jamal Crawford hype. So now I'm like, okay, all right. One game, he doesn't play me till 15 minutes in the second half. That 15 minutes in the second half, I go crazy. Chris, my boy still talks about the story. They're going crazy on the bench because I go crazy. Again, I come back. He sits me. So it was kind of like a push and pull thing with him. And then the assistant coach, who is now the head coach, sat him down and was like, hey, either we win or we go to the playoffs this way, or we're gonna not make the playoffs or the conference tourney, nothing. He ended up just letting me rock after sitting me like 8-9 games. Like, he sat me one full game and didn't play me. The other games he would wait till like the second half. He would play with me. And again, that's mind games. That can knock players' confidence. If I was a freshman, it might have knocked my confidence, but I've been through so much that I wasn't gonna let nothing knock me at that point in my college career. And again, that's what coaches don't understand. They have the power to knock knock someone's confidence and build a player's confidence. They have the opportunity to make a player really great, or keep a player where they're at, or knock them down to worse, because everybody's not mentally strong. Everybody's not as mentally tough.
Right.
So, those mind games he was playing with me, I'm good. I know that I'm good at basketball, so it was never going to work for me. So we went to the conference tourney. We lost to the best team in the league before the NCAA tourney. I'm already talking about our region was going to be in Seattle. I'm already talking about, hey, we going to Seattle, pack your bags. So we lose this game, and again, he pulls some. We're down. He puts a freshman in. Mind you, Chris, I made 2 turnovers in a row. Mind you, I made 2 turnovers in a row. The game was close. Take full responsibility of that. It wasn't like they were just bad turnovers. It wasn't like he was telling me to get the ball to the post. So I'm like, he's not open, but he keeps telling me. So, all right, cool. Throw it, turnover. Do it again, throw it, turnover. He yanks me out. We're up at this point, puts a freshman in. This is the last game of my college career. Again, I'm standing up. At this point, I want to win. Forget the coach. I want to win for my team. So we end the freshman. Again, I love him. He ends up fouling the 3-point shooter. They make 3 free throws. We're down by 2 with like 8 seconds to go. Mind you got a freshman point guard in, and our other players are wings. They're good, but they're not point guards, right? So 8 seconds to go, call a timeout. I'm like, coach, please. He's like, no, shut up, sit down. I'll never forget. Shut up, sit down. I was like, man, and the players are even asking him, like, my boy's like, can Phil go? No, shut up, don't ask me again. I said, all right. So this is how we rocking. They come down. We throw up something. We don't get a good shot in 8 seconds. We lose the game by 2 points. End of my college career. Me and him probably spoke once after that at our team, end of the team dinner. Haven't spoke to him since. At the time it was hard feelings. Now I don't care. But at that point it was just like, that was the last game of my college career. Let me finish it out on the court. I'm your best bet at it. But again, it was still that control thing. So it is what it is. So that's another reason, like when you asked me earlier about coaching, that's why I love coaching so much. And that's why I want to coach, is because I don't want these players to experience everything that I had to go through. And I try to make even if you're not going to play, I want you to, learn from it, because coaching is coaching, and yeah, basketball is basketball, but I'm sure you can relate. We take so many things that we learn from basketball and coaching and using in life. Like, we use everything in life, how we work hard at our job, or, when whatever we're doing, and we use that and we take it and we put it into whatever it is that we're doing, whether it's, cutting the grass or doing stuff around the house.
You can speak for yourself on that. I don't cut no grass. I don't cut no grass now.
Hey, you got turf. Don't you got turf? You got turf.
In the backyard, we have turf. In the front yard, yeah, that's good. I ain't touching that at all. At all.
This guy, man, you're really one of the funniest guys I know.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's fortunate that you went through that situation. It's unfortunate how it all played out, but it ends up making you the person that you are. So that is, it's a great story. If nothing else, that's just a great story. Come on, who's been to 17 colleges and had 17 coaches, and every one of them, man, if anybody knows you, they know that, like, if you told this story, they think you was just like crazy. You think you was like Allen Iverson or whatever. But I know you, and I don't know that. Like, it's not any friction. If somebody said that this was my story, they'd be like, yeah, that's about right. Because sometimes, but for you, I would say no, not at all. But it's a shame, because there could have been some conversations that were had all throughout the way, in the transparency, in which, like, if you don't need me, if you don't want me, if you don't think that I'm a good player, fine, you can just tell me. And you had 2 coaches that actually did that. Right. But if they could have just, okay, I don't want you to score, and here's the reason why. Right. If he told you, this is the reason why, yes, you can get 20, but can you give me 15 and then spread it out for everybody else? This is the reason why. I got on, one of our players about the lack of effort, and she didn't think that I was right. All right, bet. So I went in and I watched some preseason games, I watched some league games, and then I put her against some of the other players that she stacked up with in the league. All right, here you go. Here's what these players look like in your position. This is how they look, and they getting at you. And guess what? You also cook them too. Let's not like you're not easy to guard.
Yeah.
And they and you got to it on them. Now watch how they defend you, and just watch how they get to the ball, and then watch this effort. And then I showed the clips of her actually doing it.
Yeah.
This is what it looks like when you actually get to. Oh, well, when the competition level is down here, that's when you really look like a dog. But when that competition level rises, are you at that same RPM? Is your RPM the same way? Can you fire it up like that? Because theirs hasn't changed, and that's the difference between good and great. That's the difference between average and good. It's just I got that motor all the time, and if I get that motor, okay, cool, now it's on. And so we had the conversation. And so, do you understand the reason why I got on you for that? And that is growth too, because I just would, back in the day, to be like, "Nah, you're wrong." Okay, I need. So you don't think you're wrong? I need to show you. I need to show you that you were wrong. And I think that would be something that some of the coaches could have did in your situations, show you or really explain why. And it's not really you challenging them; it's you just trying to get some clarity on whatever it is.
And that's all it is.
Yeah.
That's all it is. That's all it is. Because I think, like I said, I dissected the game. I was a student of the game. So and maybe it was me making valid points, like, because and again, it's not to combat. It's more so like, Coach, we win in these games, and my boy Chris, he's a team leader. He averaged maybe like 18 or something. I was like, he still got his 18 or 20. He still got his 12 or whatever. And Willie and Tyree, they doing their thing. So I'm just trying to figure out, can we watch film or whatever? I even asked him, and he was like, nope. Just I'm telling you, he said, I'll never forget, you are the fourth option on the team. If he's not open, then you shoot the ball. And I'm like, Coach, but that's not how basketball works. It's not how the game works. Like, you take it as you have it. But like you said, great point about you showing her. I'm sure she responded well. Even if she didn't, she understood why. If you're taking her out for lack of effort, now she knows why.
Right. Yeah, and she's gonna get it, and once she does get it, like, it's gonna be, because basketball's two ends of the floor.
Yeah,
you can't just neglect one side of the floor.
Yeah,
it's both sides, and both play into how you play overall. And I showed them. I said, these players, which will be first team all league.
Yeah.
The one player had 2 points in the game prior to the last couple possessions where she ended up with 7. She had 2 points that game, but you still felt her.
Yeah.
You still felt her. Yeah. And then the other player, which will be all league, she had 5 points. Both these girls will be playing in college basketball next year. And she had 5 points, but you still felt her. I'm telling her, like, you did. That's the difference. You can still feel the gravity of what LeBron James does at this point in his career. You can still feel it if you're on the court. Now, you might not understand by watching it, but if you're coaching the game, you're like, oh yeah, he had a big imprint on that game.
Yeah.
He had a big imprint on that game. Yeah. And he may not have had like huge numbers, but you still feel that. And just like, if somebody that has a magnetic personality, they walk into you just feel it. Yeah, and that's the difference between good and great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me about where our game is at now. What are the things that you like about basketball as a whole, and what are things that I think we can improve on?
And women's or just overall?
I think just overall with in 2024, what does basketball look like? It looks much different than it looked like 10 years ago. And right now it looks there's just so much out there. So what are your overall thoughts?
I think that like we mentioned, I think talent wise, I think there's a lot of talented players. I think also there's not. I think we're at a good. I think we're at a good point. At a good, probably the best ever in terms of talent and ability to play basketball. I think we have so many talented players, even players who don't play a lot are talented because they're training or they're doing whatever. I think what's lacking. I probably would say is just the accountability aspect, and these players transferring all over in high school. Um, and what I think it affects it for me is these players are stacking teams in terms of high school landscape, and you got the five best players on or in the state of California on one team, which is that's cool. They're all nice, but they're smashing teams by 70, right? And they're not developing any type of competitive nature. They're not competing with anybody because all the best are together. So they're not really competing. It's not nothing's hard for them. Like nothing's hard. So when they do get to college, these big time colleges, they kind of get lost in the sauce in a way because they're not used to the competition. You got dogs on this team. You're at North Carolina, but you playing not even a top school. You playing Virginia Tech, and they got dogs, and they're really competing with you. And now you kind of don't know how to respond. I think that's why you see in terms of college, you see stars, and again, you see stars in college now, but back in college, you would see stars and you would see dogs. Like you would see, I mean, Jalen Brunson at Villanova was a dog to me. You see these guys, and granted, you have these guys who are nice nowadays, but they're not like again the competitive nature isn't there, and then they get to the league, and mind you, they might still get to the league because their talent's great, but then it's like, oh, they just fizzle out, or they're riding the bench, or they never really pan out because they never establish a role, because they never found a role. Like if I'm a 3-and-D guy, like you hear these guys talk about it all the time in the league. Like, what is your role? What can you do very well? They were never able to establish that because they were always on stacked teams, and they were throwing lobs to everybody, and they never had to think about the game from X's and O's standpoint or a strategic standpoint because everything came easy to them. And then you get in college, and then they're riding the bench or they don't flourish because again, you're not thinking of it from that. Now people are playing you zone. Now they're keying in on you, and you don't have, you're not the best team just automatically overall. So now it's a struggle, and then you get to the league, and then you don't know how to play defense from a fundamental standpoint. You don't know how to play defense, or you don't know how to break down the defense or know where to pass the ball because you've never had to. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a couple of things, and I'm just gonna push back a little bit, but I agree with you in a lot of ways. But I think it's always been happening like that.
You
Just
think
think
so?
absolutely the best high school teams. Bobby Hurley's dad back in the day, I think it was St. Joseph's. They had all the best players back then. The Fab Five, they got the five best high school players and went to one team. All the Kentucky teams, obviously, they get the best five players, and they've been doing this. And it started, I mean, even as a dad right now, guess what I'm trying to do? I'm trying to get the best five players to play with my son.
Oh, for sure.
That's
For
just a
sure.
fact. But so
Yeah.
it's like I get where you're coming from, but I think it's always been done that way. Just like if
But what do you think do you think that it's a disconnect now? Do you think
uh,
something?
so I think the lack of team cohesion is one of the big things that I see. Is it's more about me or I rather than we and us. That's just kind of what I see as far as the landscape is concerned. Because I mean, did I like even even like I see kids they're looking at the stat sheet in between the quarters or the halves. It's oh
Yeah.
how many I got, how many I got. Like it don't matter how many I got. The only thing that matters I got is we got one more point than them. If we got one more point than them, then that's what really matters. So I think these teams, I mean, think about the Lakers back in the day. They had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So everybody's trying to get all the best
Yeah.
talent. If you're with Apple, you want to get the best developers possible. You want to get the best
Yeah.
coders possible. You want to get the best salespeople possible. So I think that yes, there and here's the deal. The discrepancy between good high school teams and great high school teams is significant. That
Yes.
is where I think is one of the issues. The difference between a high level Power 5 team and a regular, WAC team is just significant. Like a WAC team is probably hardly ever going to be able to compete with a Power 5 team like a Duke or North Carolina or something like that, or Stanford women. Like they just don't have a chance. Now it's getting closer because there's a lot more players available and the skill level is much higher. And as you saw, Virginia lost. They were the only one seed to ever lose to the team from Baltimore, UMBC, I believe was the team. But that's different because it's one game in the 3-point shot, and then like the skill level is very similar to all at the Division I level. The skill level ain't that much different, and it's just really the size from the higher major teams to the lower major teams. But yeah, I think everybody's always tried to stack teams, but I just think that it's more focused on individual success rather than team success. And if you don't like it, what I don't like is if you don't like a situation, the automatic thing is like, oh, I'm gonna remove myself from the situation. Well, it ain't gonna get better for you. You act like it's gonna be a better situation. The people that can do that are the most talented people. They can go to any situation, and because they're in that situation, they're better.
Right.
Most people can't do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can't go into every single room. Like I can't get in touch with everybody. You know who can get in touch with everybody? Steph Curry.
Yeah.
There's levels to it. You know what I mean? There's levels. I can get in certain rooms. I know a lot of people. You know a lot of people, but I can't get in the rooms that he's getting into.
Facts.
There's just levels to it, and that's okay. And we got to be okay with that. And you got to have some super high self-awareness for where you're at, because just because you know a little something or you think you're pretty good, don't guarantee you anything.
Facts.
At all. You have to really just humble yourself. And either there's two type of people that are humble or people that will be humbled. And that's just a fact.
Preach, brother. Preach.
Yeah.
I agree. I definitely agree with you on that. For sure.
But yeah, I mean the discrepancy between the two levels, a good and great high school, specifically on the girls' side, is just drastic. And then the bad teams to good teams is still drastic too. Like if you're a good high school team, you will blast a very average high school team.
Yeah.
Not even close. And you can be a good high school team and then you get blasted by an elite team.
Yeah.
That's the crazy part.
Yeah.
And I don't really know. I don't have an answer to solve that.
I know. Like these scores I'm seeing is crazy. I just don't remember that. That's what I'm saying. Like in terms of high school, not AAU, because AAU, you want the best team because you're competing against the best. But like these high school kids are transferring to the top schools, and like I mentioned, they're not playing. Like they're just smashing.
And that's the thing too. A lot of these high school kids, if they go to these certain schools, they may not even touch the floor. Okay, and unless you're really nice, unless you are guaranteed one of the one or two best players, it's not guaranteed that you even continue your basketball career. And you might as well go to your public school or somewhere that you are going to have an opportunity to play all 4 years.
Yeah.
And don't chase chase the fit. Don't chase the jersey. And that's high school, that's college, that's everywhere. That's AAU. A lot of people will chase, the opportunity for certain teams.
Yeah.
And
say that they're on that team or, but it don't always work out for you.
It doesn't. It doesn't work out for a lot of people. It's gonna work out for them ultra talented people all the time. It don't matter. You're gonna get 15 chances.
For sure.
You're gonna get 15 chances if you are ultra talented in any field.
Yeah.
And because you got talent, people will keep opening doors. And if you ain't got no talent, them doors is closing. Like, just think about your career right now. If you were 6'5" instead of 6'1", 6'2", like, or if you were 6'6", what does that look like? It's just different.
Yeah,
it's just way different.
Yeah,
your whole career is different.
Yeah,
it just is.
League me. I'm to the league.
Exactly, and most likely that's what it would be.
Yeah,
but the fact of the matter is that's not the case.
Yeah,
and we have to we got to understand that and live with it and be self-aware enough to say, like, yeah, that wasn't. It is what it is. I'm happy where I got, just doing what I did.
Sure.
So
yeah.
Where can everybody follow you? You just got back on social media, I feel like.
Hey, yeah, I did. I was off, but Slow Jam Philly, those are all my handles. I'm on Twitter. I'm talking hoop. All you're gonna see is basketball all day. IG, I'm posting the family, or Slow Jam. My Twitter is Slow Jam Philly, and Instagram is Slow Jam Philly, because of course, music wise, brother. But yeah, those are my two handles. I mean, I have a Facebook, but that's family. I'm not adding everybody. That's just family and friends I grew up with, but I'm rarely on that. But yeah, those are my handles.
Who should be on the show? And if you say the name, you gotta supply the guest.
Ooh.
And people have been lacking on this too right now. Like I tell somebody, hey, I need such and such, and they'll be following up. So I'm about to have to follow up with you.
Oh, that is a good question. I'm about to think about that and get back to you. That is a good question. I'm trying to think. You like coaching wise, huh? Like a good coach?
It don't matter. I'll talk to anybody, but more lately it has been more coaches in any sport. I think that's kind of been the lane. When we were deep in the pandemic, I'd be long distance hikers. It was a doctor here, it was a lawyer here, it was a media person here. So now I'm probably sticking more towards this lane, because I think that's the lane that the downloads speak to.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm gonna let you know. That's a great question. I'm gonna let you know. My boy Terp, he's a college coach at what's the school called? Up in Wheat, California. They're out there. What school is he? I gotta remember his school. He gonna get mad at me for this.
Is he even coaching? Are you sure?
Oh, he's an head coach. It's his first year. Where is that school way out there?
You don't sound too sure.
In Susansville. What's in Susansville?
I don't know. I don't know. Don't ask me. Don't put me on the spot. If he come on the show, I better know.
But yeah, his name's Darren Turpin. He's a coach. He played with me at Humboldt State. He coached at College of Redwoods. He's now a head coach at the school in Susansville. Like, I'm drawing a blank. He's gonna get mad at me. But yeah, he was good.
We're not editing it out either. We're not gonna cut it out.
Okay.
And you know what is stay on after the outro, but do you know what is undeniable?
What?
This beat by J. Phils.
Hey!
Thank you for listening to the Beyond the Buckets podcast. Please remember to subscribe, rate, and share the show with your friends. And until next time, take care.